Welcome to the Awakening Women Show. I'm your host, Leanne Oaten, a former counselor with a background in counseling psychology. I'm a mentor for high-achieving, ambitious women with over 13 years in the mental health and empowerment space. I've guided hundreds of women and have influenced over 100,000 through my platforms, podcast, and other courses, programs, and mentorship. I'm also the creator of the Relationship Clarity program, formerly known as End the Cycle, which you will hear me mention a lot of times as we go through the episodes. This program is to help women break free from destructive relationship cycles and come to clarity and power about their next step. This show is for the woman who knows her relationship struggles go deeper than the usual conflict. You know there's something more going on, but you can't quite nail it down or pinpoint what that is. You'll find clarity here, empowerment, truth, and validation. Clarity on whether your relationship can be healed or whether it's time to reclaim your life and move forward. What started as me sharing my own experiences quickly became a movement because the truth is, so many ambitious, successful women are stuck in confusing and draining relationship dynamics while trying to rise in every other area of their life, career, motherhood. This is you, you're not alone, and you don't have to keep living this way. Inside this podcast, you'll hear some of my most downloaded episodes, plus fresh content designed to help you break patterns, reclaim your wholeness, and decide once and for all if this relationship is where you belong. I'm so glad you found this space. Let's dive in. Welcome to this edition of the Awakening Women podcast. I'm your host, Leanne Oaten. And in this episode, I am shining light on a few things. Number one, that we this week are 9 years recording on this particular podcast. That is actually insane. There are not a lot of podcasters that you could trace back that started their show 9 years ago and have continued to produce consistently content on the show. I don't know about you, but there are a few podcasts that I follow and listen to, and not a lot. I'm very selective about who I listen to. And a lot of times it's people I've already worked with, and then I use it as like a touch point to continue being in their world. I don't listen to a lot of just like noise on podcasts. It has to be something that it doesn't sound like they're just reading off of AI, or they're just not like some coach that just put a sign up. Like, it needs to be someone who has like some credentials. They've been doing what they're doing. That I don't really like to just listen to noise. I don't listen to the radio. I don't listen to the news. If I'm home alone, nothing's on in the background, but I do listen to audiobooks and select podcasts. And so where I was going with this is a lot of the podcasts that I listen to, many of them are consistent, but sometimes some of them are not. And you could go for 2 weeks and not have one. And I just feel like this is something I've been able to stay consistent with because I love to share my views and the things I'm learning and what I've learned through my line of work that I've been doing for 13 years as a therapist and coach. The work I've been doing with women. This podcast has just spread like wildfire. And I also realize that it does take a certain commitment. And for me, there's just something within me that has never been able to completely stop. I am so passionate about this work that it's oftentimes an obsession. And I have to recognize that within myself, that I'm always coming up with new ideas. I'm connecting dots. I'm listening to what everyone is saying in my free, like my Instagram, and also with my clients and my paid communities and my past clients and course students who are typing things in the course itself where there's spots that they can do that. So I'm listening to everyone and I'm connecting dots, and I'm also self-leading. Like, where are my dots? Where am I? I'm constantly doing the work. And someone from the outside might think like, you're a little nuts with this. You're really obsessive. And yes, I am. I absolutely am. I admit it. And I'm passionate. And I could wake up in the morning and think, oh my God, yes, that's what I need to write. And like one morning I had that realization that I will never tolerate having a man in my home that makes me feel on edge and anxious in my own home. That post has gone insane on Instagram and on Threads, which Threads is funny because it takes a lot for something to go crazy on Threads. It's like a once in a while something will take off. But it is on my Instagram right now with so many comments, I couldn't count. So I am obsessive about it. And then I also want to share something with you guys that a couple of months ago, I came on the show and I have to admit, I hit a wall where I didn't even think I wanted to do this anymore, that I think I wanted to quit my business altogether. Do I want to just quit all this because it's so much work and just go get a job? I was emotionally done. I couldn't even string my thoughts together to post a coherent post. And so my podcast listenership went down, my Instagram engagement went down, like everything, because I was going down. I had to stop and really turn inward and look at taking care of me. I was so obsessed with making sure that I was saving all the women and that I had to keep doing this. And of course, providing for my family, my girls, now as a single mom, a single woman, in taking care of everything myself. And I kept pushing and pushing and pushing, going through like one of the hardest periods of my life. And I got to a point where I just had to stop. I had no choice. I had to let everything fall where it was going to and deal with the repercussions, because my health was number one. And so with all of that, I was convinced that I needed to just quit this whole thing. And I stopped really posting. I could not muster the bandwidth to post another narcissistic anything, because it was just too close to home for me. And I just really was done talking about that. What I recognized several months later through doing my own inner work, healing myself, really prioritizing me before I even hit record on this podcast. It's 3:19. This is the first time I'm sitting down at my desk. I spent the day taking care of me, doing the errands I needed to do, doing other things that grounded me before I'm giving out. I really have had to learn this self-mastery on the other side of a health crash, of a health crisis, of the rock bottom wall. And so what I've realized in that is it's not that I don't want to guide women who are going through this. I absolutely do. It is a passion of mine. What I don't love is feeling like I need to drag women along. So that's the reason why I am not, there would have to be a really select type of woman I would work with who is dealing with those type of dynamics, where she's ready to really do that inner work and she's at that cusp of leaving, but just needs that push, that accountability, that guidance, that clarity, the support to launch out the other side, and then the support on the other side. Because what I've seen with women, especially when there's an emotionally addictive component to these relationships, and there is that once they come out on the other side, they crash. So I get DMs all the time. Is this normal that I have this health ailment, or this thing's coming up after I've left, or I can't function, or I'm in anxiety, I'm frozen, I can't think straight, I feel like I'm dying. Like, I've heard women saying that stuff. Well, pardon me, not heard them, I guess. I've read these comments over and over and over and over again, to where I really have had to dive deeper into what's going on here. There's something going on here that happens to women when they come out of these relationships, because some women seem to be like, oh, thank goodness I got out of there. It's a relief. I'm thriving. I'm this, I'm that. And that's only just seeing it on Instagram in the comments, and you might be seeing that, and that probably doesn't help if you're anywhere but thriving. You're just like getting up, going to work, doing the kids, doing the household, just going through the motions. And you see that and you're like, well, what am I doing wrong? What's wrong with me? So we don't know the story or what someone had to go through to get to that. But I also think another part to this is that not every woman becomes addicted. That there is a certain patterning or programming or things that we've experienced in our lifetime that makes us susceptible to the love and emotional addiction in relationships. This is something I feel really passionate about teaching because I have been doing this work with women, like I said, for 6 years with Awakening Women specifically, to be able to see patterns. And they're all struggling with very similar, if not identical things. And their men are saying the same thing. So this is not new. Like the collective that I have of women, this is a higher touch coaching space that it's open only by application right now because it's a smaller, high touch group. So if it's something that you want to be part of and get access to me and actually get direct mentorship from me, then reach out to me on Instagram and I'll see what I can do, because it's not open to the public at this time. It's a very like invitation only type of thing because I am in there with you, coaching you. So when I've done programs in the past like this, they've been 30 days only, and then women didn't really have anywhere to go from there, didn't have this thing set up. So this is a longer term situation where you can get ongoing support. Anyways, the common threads that come through are women posting things and then going, oh my God, that's exactly what my guy says. He says exactly that. And so it's a really beautiful thing to be able to bring women together so that they don't feel alone in this, and in a discreet space that they feel like they can engage in without people they know seeing it or being in a large Facebook group on social media, because we do this in Telegram. But what I have recognized is that my passion is helping women come back to themselves, however that is. And I've been saying this from the beginning, that it's not about him. When I go through some of my old content, if I'm editing or grabbing clips from old content that I've created, I'm saying this from the beginning. I realize my message has not changed, that this whole thing around women need to turn the focus on themselves, to stop putting their attention outward. All of that has remained the constant in the work that I do, and why it is so powerful, because I can see a woman's patterns just in something that she writes in a group, to be able to pinpoint the pattern, the emotional pattern. Because there is this addictive nature for some women. I don't believe this is true for every woman, because for sure some women seem to be able to just cut the cord and leave and just kind of get on with life. But for me, I've never seen that with the women I work with. In fact, they end up having quite a hard time on the other side for some time, and the time length varies. We get hooked on emotional intensity. We're driven go-getters, so we really like that intensity. Like if you think about what it took for you to get where you are, if you have an education, you are high level in your career, you've rose up in the ladder, you've created success in your business, we typically do that because we like the intensity. Like for me, I've always done businesses. For the last 20 years, I've had businesses. Before I started this one, I had other side businesses and things I did when I was raising my daughters. And I liked that intensity and kind of that like pushing and getting things together. And for me now, it's like, okay, now I'm putting together this for this next launch or this next whatever. I like that. So we kind of already have that drive within us, that ambition, that tenacity. So we kind of look for that as a sign that I'm alive. Like, who am I if I'm not fixing this man, pressuring this man, handling everything, over-functioning, hustling at work, climbing the corporate ladder, building this business, reaching my goals, making the money? Who am I if I don't have all of those things? Well, what we can find is a little bit scary sometimes, because when we're within that silence of just ourselves, we might feel an emptiness or an unease with that, because we're so used to go, 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 go. So we end up with these relationships where we get to really overachieve. So this is where that emotional addiction comes in for some women, the ambitious women, the women that are like, I am successful. I've coached women in between their business meetings when they've had a call with me, and they're badass. And they're like, but I'm over here tolerating this bullshit at home where he's doing this and he's doing that and all this horrendous, unspeakable bullshit. that they're tolerating. And they're like beautiful women, like beautiful inside and out women. And so what's up with that? I remember feeling this, like, in all the times I've worked with them, I'm like, I don't get why we do this. Like, beautiful, smart, articulate women, could we not do better? Could we not find someone more on our level? What if you could find someone on your level that matched where you're at, which should be the goalpost, which should be the new standard? And if you ever work with me, that will be your new standard, because we're not settling for any type of broke dude energy, broke emotionally, financially, bankrupt in any way. No, thank you. We're not carrying men who are not willing to show up equally. And so there's this whole talk about, the 50-50 thing, right? He wants me to pay 50-50 and on dates and all that. Well, is he matching you 50-50 with everything else emotionally? With effort, reciprocity, energy in the home, the upkeep, planning dates, planning outings, planning this, planning that, managing. Is there a 50-50 vibe going on in that way? Or are you doing 50-50 and 100 of everything else? Most women, that's the case. So my passion is still here. It's come back because I had to do some of the most difficult work of just letting shit fall apart in my life. And being willing to go, okay, this is a recalibration for what I'm going to be coming through next. I know it, that this is a next level of my own healing, so I can come back more powerful than ever and lead women through my healing and my wisdom. Whereas before, I built a lot of success in my coaching company, but I did it from my wounding, which was fine at the time. It served a lot of women. It helped a lot of women. And I know that it saved many women. I get messages from women all the time just that I've never heard of before, that I've listened to your podcast, you don't know me, and I was able to realize what I was experiencing and leave and get my kids to safety all because of your podcast, right? I do get those. That's no word of a lie. I get those private messages. And so what I see that I did is I turned my pain into power and to use it for good instead of drowning in it and just being in it. I was like, well, fuck this. I'm going to put it out there and see if this helps other women if I start sharing my experiences. And that's when it blew up. So my point for this episode really is to just say I'm back in a new vibe. I feel just this last over a month, this huge shift within myself. I wanted to hide. I didn't want to go on social media. I didn't want my face on social media. I felt like uninspired, like I couldn't think clearly. There was just a lot going on for me behind the scenes, and I had to do that work to be able to come back stronger than ever, to guide you in a new level, from a new level. And so, like I said, things have changed. I am putting out a new class coming up. You'll want to go to the link in the show notes and check out everything that's there, because there's all kinds of goodies and things you can click on and go further with me beyond this, okay? So always check the show notes of every episode. Just see what's there, because sometimes I just pop links in there that are current. So make sure you always check the show notes to see what's there. But right now, there's a wait list for the class that I have coming up that is around the emotional addiction for high-functioning women of these highs and lows in relationships. This is really important. So that's coming up. As I said, I have the collective that is my high-touch mentorship, small group mentorship. There will never be hundreds of people in there. In fact, what I will do is have pods. When one gets to a certain level, then I will have separate pods I will be running. Who knows where it will go from there, but that's my vision. I can only work with so many women privately, And it's not the best use of my time, to be honest, because women get a lot more out of being in a group to learn from each other, and to be able to pop in and post something and get my feedback, or get other women saying, yeah, oh my God, me too. This is what I'm experiencing as well. The exact same thing. I could not put it into words. I thought it was just me. There is so much healing in that. And I just get chills when I see that, because these women then are having these paradigm shifts with each other to go, it's not me. I'm not crazy. This is happening to other women, unfortunately, but it is. And so my purpose now is to grow these pods, these mentorship pods, so that you're getting high access to me, high touch, but without the one-on-one private mentoring price tag, because that is a much larger investment that I only do with certain women. And so at this point, if you want to be considered and request to join one of the pods, then there is a link in the show notes that you can go to. Or you could just reach out to me on Instagram and just say, hey, I heard you talking about the collective. Can you get me the details? Because I want to just vet the women that come in. Most of the women that are in there right now have already worked with me over the long term, and they just stay because they know the power of my work. And I love that, because that is a sign that I am continuing to deliver value that helps them as they evolve. But if I wasn't doing my own work, if I didn't go through all of that shit for the last 4 years, it's been 4 years for me behind the scenes, still showing up, but barely able to, that I wouldn't be able to now serve women at the level I am if I wasn't brave enough to just go into the void of the unknown of what's next and allow myself to heal and recalibrate and build new awarenesses. Like, so much has gone on in the last 4 years, so much. And this is why it's so important to never assume you know someone else, right? From the outside, everything could look just fine for me, right? I have the podcast. I've kind of kept up with that. I didn't ghost it. I kept that consistent. I have a large following on Instagram. I work with amazing women, and I have always gotten to do that, which I feel very privileged to do that. Honestly, truly, I do. And from the outside, things can look like someone's got it together, but I felt like anything but, to be honest. And if I wasn't able to go through that vulnerably and understand the power of when everything is falling down around you, that is your moment to go, okay, all right, whatever you have next for me, spirit, God, whoever the hell, like, just bring it on. Because at this point, like, honestly, I'm done reaching that point of, all right, what do you got? Because I've already been through hell, so not much can get worse than this. And I should knock on wood. At this point, like, I don't want to know if it can get worse. So show me what it is I'm supposed to know. Show me what you would have me do. Show me my next steps. And that was kind of my inner mantra, like, what am I supposed to do with this? And then typically when we're doing that, we're in that receptive mode, downloads come, hits come, ideas come. And that's when we start to create new momentum. But just like anything, there's a dormant period. Just like with plants in the winter, they don't grow a whole lot. They kind of look like they're shriveling up. And then the spring comes and they bloom and they get new roots and they're flowering. Well, we go through seasons as well. So I would say, as we're getting into winter here where I am in Canada, I feel like I just went through my winter and now I'm coming through the other side into spring in the winter, which is bizarre. But I digress with that. That's a whole other topic of being a woman that is in tune with the seasons and the moon. But it's true. And it's being in touch with your own cycles and going through perimenopausal changes and health changes and thyroid changes and severe burnout, and not to mention other things going on behind the scenes. If you are a single mom, you know what it's like to rebuild on the other side. If you're a mom of kids that are older, you know the unique challenges that brings. There are challenges on every level. And so, with all this said, I'm going to be back to the regularly scheduled Thursday episodes. And where I feel inspired to do additional ones, I will. But right now I'm pouring into the Collective daily. So when you're in the Collective, you get mini podcast episodes every day of the week, Tuesday to Friday. They run anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes typically, and they're actionable. It's like, hey, here's the teaching, here's how to integrate it. And then the women post and ask questions or deepen or have the conversation around that topic. It keeps the momentum going. They love it because it keeps them in the work when they start to feel themselves slipping back into patterns, into old patterns, because we will. It doesn't just change itself in a couple of months. We can go back into our old patterns at any time. They have that touch point so that they can keep going forward. Because what we tend to do as women, as humans, is we might get in a groove with our health, with mentorship coaching and go, or therapy, right? I saw this a lot in my therapeutic practice. I'm doing really well. I think I'm going to quit now after like a couple of sessions, right? And that's great because we want you to be doing well. I want women to work me out of a job. Yes, I want you to be doing well. But also there is a value in having maintenance coaching and support. It gives you the gift of that. You don't need to be going into therapy for years sitting and talking about your problems. But I do think that there's immense value in having touch points. Like I have that for my business, which is great, where I can go into the mastermind group that I'm in with a program and get touch points. Huge help. Because we need like-minded around us when we're expansive and we're growing and we're growth-oriented women and we're powerful and we don't want to just stay in our shit. And so that, I think, was what was really hard about what I went through, because I wanted so badly just to like hustle my way out of that. I'm like, if I could just work harder. I mentally feel like I know all the things I need to be doing, but I'm too exhausted to do them. It was a very frustrating place to be. So all I could do was surrender. And so this really, I guess, is the common thread of this episode, is surrendering. And it's an active surrender. It's not surrender as in laying in bed all day, but it is like going on more walks, resting more. I was reading more and listening to more spiritual growth stuff. I was doing more puttering in my house, even just puttering and homemaking again. And some days doing not much of anything and letting myself be okay with that, which is hard. Because then we can judge ourselves that we should be doing more, that we could be doing more, we should be doing this, that, and the other that's there to deal with. This is what it means to heal. It is rewiring old patterns. I hope this landed for you. Maybe this is something you needed to hear. And if you are ready to take the next step with me and go further, as I said, check out the links that are in the episode show notes for this one. And get on the wait list for my new class that's coming out. If you love this show, please take a moment right now, if you're on Spotify, to just tap the 5-star review. If you love the show and it served you, that really helps. I think I'm up to 64. Well, there's 4.9 because someone, I think, left a negative. Like 1 or 2 negative or low review can throw off your entire average, which really sucks. So I'm at 4.9 right now, 64 of those. So I'm thinking if I can get enough 5 stars in a short period of time, maybe they'll bump it up so I can show that 5-star. So I'd love your help. If you're getting something out of this, reciprocity is queen. And just to give back from what it is that I pour here into this for free. And see if we can get that up to 5 stars. I'm really curious how that works. I don't know how many 5 stars tip that scale into that. But if you could help me with that, and if I can get there, I will be super happy. And I might do some kind of a special podcast class, or I'll do something if we can get there. Help me get there. So if you are listening on iTunes, go over to the Spotify Awakening Women podcast and leave me a 5-star review. Only if you love the show. I don't want anybody leaving false. I always say don't do it just because. Do it only if you truly have gotten service from the show. And let's see if we can get that up. Also, my iTunes podcast is like that too, where I think it's at 4.8 or something. And iTunes is funny. They don't show all of the ratings. It's very strange, which is why I love Spotify actually better. So thank you so much for listening, sticking it out with me. Let me know. I would love to know if this resonated with you. Just come say hi to me over on Instagram, DM me. Let me know if I ranted into the abyss and this actually hit something for you. I would love to know that. It's a one-way conversation, just me behind the mic. I don't ever really know until I get that message of, oh my God, your podcast saved my life. It helped me get my children to safety and all that. And I love those messages. But even just to say, hey, I listened to that episode on whatever it is. Let me know how it served you. I'd love to know. And I'll chat with you in the next one. Bye for now.